Hi, and welcome to another live Q&A. We have, I'm Johnny Ross from Fleet Marketing. We've got Pascal Fintoni here with us today. Do you want to say hello?
Well, hello everyone, and thanks very much for joining us live or on replay.
And yeah, if you are watching on replay, please put hashtag replay. It will be really helpful to understand. We're live streaming on YouTube. We are live in our Facebook group that was put together. It's the Coronavirus Yorkshire Business Support Group. The idea is it's to help as many businesses as possible during this really tough time, the coronavirus chaos, to try and answer questions, to give advice, to help, and to get experts like Pascal along to help us on our journey, whether that be if our business is in survival mode or actually trying to recover and really do well out of this. So Pascal, just give us a bit of a background about yourself and what your business is.
Well, thanks very much. So I've been involved in the world of marketing and sales, it would seem forever, but in the early 90s, specialized in online. Fame to claim, I probably got one of the first email addresses in London. Because I didn't know anyone, I just emailed myself, and then I was given this website project in 1994, and became fascinated and passionate by communication via the internet, Johnny, and how you can obviously encourage people to take action, whether it's to join a fundraising campaign, whether it's to buy products, whether it's to use different services. And for the last few years, really, I've had the pleasure and privilege of being a trainer and speaker and kind of dissect and kind of explain in more practical terms the wonders of content marketing, building reputation, using email marketing, SEO, social media. And a passion of mine, which has been with me since childhood, has been film and video. And much to my surprise, for the last 10, 11 years now, I've also been talking about video marketing and how to approach it in a way where you use both good marketing systems and kind of strong foundations in communication, but also use storytelling at the heart of what you do.
And with what's happened in this world crisis, a lot of people have suddenly jumped to video. Zoom has skyrocketed in shares. You don't have any ownership in Zoom, do you?
I wish I had. And you know, all those years ago, they offered me some affiliate link, and I'm like, "No, it's all right. Nobody's interested in Zoom."
It's crazy how it's just come out of well, not nowhere, but it's gone huge. So is there a danger that we all just jump on this bandwagon of video without really thinking about it? Could we cause any harm by just jumping on video?
Yeah, I mean, you can cause harm to your business reputation by jumping on anything. Or what I mean by that is there's a skill that you need to have as a business owner, and the skill is to say no more often than you say yes. And I think that, yes, we can also look at the numbers, Johnny, about, by X year, 80% of the web would be video content made up by Cisco, I think, to serve their purposes. And here we are, 2020, and it's not the case. What I mean by the danger is you go about it in a way that distracts you from the real work that should be taking place. And that's true back in the days of email marketing and blogging and SEO and social media. There's a tendency, and I think that's part of human nature, to kind of rush in driven by passion and interest. But actually, if you're not careful and stop for a moment and go, okay, so I've done my exploration, I can understand it better, a bit more about the subject matter, but what are the steps? What are what is the execution that's going to make a big difference to my business? That's going to take the least amount of time and the least amount of effort. And when you run a business and you want to do marketing and communication, you want to be doing content, you've got to be very, very careful not to fall in love with the practice of content creation. And to this conversation, Johnny, video production. What I mean by that is your aspiration should never be to become a video producer, a filmmaker, a documentary maker, because that's not your chosen profession. And for those of us who are watching it live and replay, if you were to kind of let us know what your occupation is, unless you're saying to me, I'm running a video production company, your aspiration should be therefore to go, right, well, we understand that I can communicate more and better potentially via video, but what are the formula? What is the format that's going to require the least amount of time for me and give me the disproportionate amount of return? You know my famous phrase when we speak at events together: minimum efforts, maximum results. And therefore, where we're going to need to be very careful is when people go on YouTube and watch the execution of others, they kind of assume that this is the goal, or this is kind of what you should aspire to. But be very careful. Those individuals are professional video producer, and they're busy doing their thing. You should be busy doing your thing. Whilst it still is video, you should do it your way. Very much like blogging. We can all do a very good job to support our business blogging, but have no aspiration to become a award-winning author. I mean, if you become one, then you wasted your time all those years ago blogging. You should have been an author all along. So I think for me, you're right. There's a danger that we give ourselves too big a task, but we also pursue a we kind of go on a path that takes us away from supporting the business, and we learn new skills and new ways of doing things which are more appropriate for a video producer, not a sales and marketing professional.
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy that you just gave around the blogging, actually, because the barrier there is you don't need to be an author to start blogging, and it's likewise, it's just on a different channel, isn't it? But it's around the thinking the same way, I guess. So what we're talking about here is how best to use video, how to make how to be a great host. I mean, I don't know if I'm performing well right now. I'm sure you'll be able to give me some feedback. But we're talking about whether you're making video marketing for your business, whether it be vlogs, whether it be your YouTube channel. I also wanted to ask, whilst we're in this different way of working, where you felt video, how you feel video works and fits with internal comms. So whether that be talking to your staff or talking to potential clients and customers, should we be, instead of on our phone we've got a phone button and we've got a video button, should actually we just be clicking the video button more when we ring someone?
Well, at this moment in time, because we are being asked, rightly so, to keep apart from each other, keep distance, the last thing you want to do is send more emails. So this one is already a given. You should send less emails. What you should be doing is make more phone calls, send more text, actually, particularly if you want to get really personal, and surprise people by doing some video messages or some video calls. So the difference being, Johnny, you send me an email, excuse me, you ask me a questions or you express, and I said, you know what, right now, what Johnny needs is a bit more human interactions. What I'm going to do is grab my phone and I'm going to record a message saying, hi, Johnny, thanks for your email. And this is the answer, or this is a reaction to what you just said, and I can send through a messenger, WhatsApp, your LinkedIn, as an attachment. And what you're trying to do here with video, and I'm going to give more details in a moment, is the role of video is to show qualities that you have as an individual and professional that the written word and static images can't quite manage in terms of what you do. Because with video, you have facial expression. You and I, we've been talking for a while now, and we've been quite animated. You have the warmth of the voice. You've got the intonations. You've got the dramatic poses and the exclamations and so on. So with that, somebody is getting a richer experience by getting a 30-second video message as opposed to a 3-line email and so on and so forth. So I think the point the question you're raising is, I always believed that actually video would have a stronger role to play in customer service and internal comms than external comms. But of course, that's the default position. Let's use video to market ourselves. I agree, and we can discuss that. But actually, when it comes to customer service, there's an enormous amount you can do. So, for example, I'm working with some clients to translate their FAQs on their website. Usually the quite boring and dry kind of page with the FAQs, and you've got to click on and so on. And we've done some analysis, and we said, well, it's interesting. You're answering 20 questions, but really people only care about those 5. So since those 5 questions are so important, shall we then add a video message? So people can have the choice to play the video or to read the text, but more importantly, for all visitors, what they're left with is thinking, wow, well, somebody really cares. They've taken the trouble to add a video message to what is normally quite a mundane page. So yeah, video marketing, video customer service, video internal comms. And for many of our listeners and viewers who are obviously working with teams now, working in remote location, primarily home, and for some of them, bless them, could be the spare bedroom, the kitchen table, and so on. And everybody is kitted up with what they need. That's what they go to work. I think you should, as a team leader, do 2 things. You should definitely have the team meeting via whatever, but you should also have the one-to-ones. And what I would recommend with the one-to-ones is similar to what you would do in the office. You would do the team meeting in the meeting room, so to speak, but the one-to-one could be done at the kitchen, near the coffee machine, and just letting the individual, your subordinates, your staff member, your team members, your project team members, just tell you a bit more about how they're feeling, the troubles they're having, so on and so forth. And I think as a team leader, what you should do is invite people not on, let's say, Zoom or Skype or Microsoft Teams, because that's the meeting room, but say to them, do you want to have a quick chinwag on WhatsApp or Messenger? So you make the decision to change the environment, and then let the individual tell you about the difficulty of working from home. Let them tell you about how hard it is to go shopping and the worries they have about their elderly mother who lives, halfway across the country, and then either just listen or kind of, offer some advice if it's all appropriate. But you might find that that's you using video correctly as a leader, and that to me is the one that we don't talk often enough, because understandably people want to know about marketing.
Such a clever idea of using different, so instead of using Zoom, which would be like going into a meeting room, using WhatsApp or FaceTime to have more of a casual chat. Such a really clever and simple idea. We are going to get into how to make the best video, some of the best practices. We're going to talk about apps and tools, and the best ways of going about video. But just one of the things that I just wanted to tap into, from a personal point of view, you're in the UK right now. You were hoping to be in France, and with this chaos, I know it's not nice at all, because you were hoping to be back with your parents, and you were sort of going to even start looking at creating a business over in France, and this crisis has sort of changed things for you. So
completely,
I'm guessing the last 2 or 3 weeks have been just as difficult as everyone else.
I mean, difficult because, listen, as I mentioned a moment ago, working from home solely is not for everyone. I mean, I have an office space near Durham where I go. I usually go on site, as we call it, and I would go to client premises or to different training venues. So home is been, the minority of the time. But to your point, I had a business plan like everybody else, and 2020 was really ambitious goals of setting up a French office and offering my services to French exporters. So one of the challenges has been to let go of that plan, which was actually a great source of inspiration for me and kind of drive, doing the work in the UK with public sector programs and my own clients, but also opening up, opportunities in France. And I did find it challenging, Johnny, to having to reconcile myself and accept that events that I couldn't really control, that were beyond my control and understanding, were going to have such a dramatic impact that I had to forego 50% of my thinking, if you like, and motivation for this year, because I suspect the aftermath will be such that traveling will still remain difficult and tricky, and the mindset in terms of my prospects in France and whatever means that, like everybody else, whatever plans we've had, we're going to lose between 6 to 10 months of the year. So now I've had to, in the space of 3 weeks, go, almost, well, never mind, this is now different. So now you push that to 2021. And it's just incredibly frustrating to have a plan, to be motivated by your plan, and for your plan to be attacked, and having to reset completely and put different projects in place. So what it's left me with was literally a gap. I mean, it was like a chasm, because that was a big chunk of my thinking and a creative energy to have this business in France. So I had to replace with other projects, and yeah, it's frustrating because as a small business, we work hard enough as it is. We just need to be given a break, and goodness, that's just put the spanners in the works. But I'm describing something that has been experienced by everybody out there, and I think that the real frustration for me, but this is where you need to have projects that bring positivity. We're going to talk to in a moment. Is frustration is the fact that to be able to plan, you need information. And at this moment in time, for all the right reasons, we lack information at all levels. So then you end up having to operate almost with that very short line of sight. It's in a matter of days and weeks, as opposed to months and years. And that's also been an interesting way to readjust.
Yeah. Okay. So talk to us about, we're wanting to create a great video. Maybe we've not really done video before, or we've certainly thought about it. Maybe we've tried it, but we don't feel we've nailed it. We don't feel it's been strategic. What are the key principles of creating really good video to be able to market your business?
Okay, so let me start by saying that you will not begin your journey as a video marketer by creating videos at all. You will be tempted to, you'll have a go, and then you will have to deal with disappointment and despair. And when you look at your work, as all video producers and filmmakers before you, and the reason for that is as follows. Let's go back to the term video marketing for a moment, Johnny. So what we're doing here, 2 words, video marketing. We're looking at ways to promote our business, to create higher visibility and credibility via video as a medium. Video marketing. Remove video, you can have email marketing, social media marketing, you name it. So video to market the business. The term is not video making, it's video marketing. And the biggest challenge when it comes to video marketing is distribution. Making videos is that easy to a point. You will learn through your mistakes and so on. And that reminds me of a story that I've shared before, which is one of my first projects as a very young marketing assistant in London was to get some video, promotional video made. We're going back to VHS cassettes, by the way, Johnny, back in the 90s. Some of our younger viewers and listeners will not know what that is. I was working for a tour operator. They had some new destinations that were not particularly known to the UK audience. So I was with a TV/video production company, and we filmed away resorts, hotels, swimming pools, you name it, and then pulled together a great video, 20 for the time. And then they said, well, how many do you want? So what we did, Johnny, back then, foolishly, we looked at the database, the mailing list, and we went, oh, brilliant, well, we need 20,000. We have 20,000 people, and there's now 20,000 copies. Now, can you imagine how much space you need for 20,000 VHS cassettes in their boxes arriving in the office one day with 3 massive lorry? We had boxes of cassettes for years under the desk, in the loft, in the canteen, by reception, and it took forever to get rid of them because you can't send 20,000 cassettes like this. I mean, I spent many weekends putting cassettes in jiffy bags, sticky labels, and so on. It was just awful. And that taught me a very important lesson, which is before you even think of creating video, you've got to have sorted out distribution. You need to know how you're going to distribute this video well. Otherwise, whilst a video file on your hard drive doesn't take much space physically, it's still gathering dust and not helping your business. So having with that in mind, distribution being the number one challenge of video marketing, not making, I want to take people through 3 principles, if you allow me, and then 3 steps of the journey of a video marketer. So the first principle is quite simply that we are at our best in conversation mode. So that's something that you need to appreciate. Therefore, the kind of videos that in the future you'll be making would be rarely solo monologues to the camera or to the webcam. And there's a number of reasons for that, but number one is, as a future customer, I need to base my decision whether or not I believe in you and trust you, not just on this amazing advice you can share by talking to yourself or to the lens, but actually by observing the way you behave as a person with others. And I need to find, therefore, signals that when I see you and hear you in conversation with others, that's a precursor to my future experience with you and potentially a long-term working relationship. So I need to know basically whether I'm going to like you. If we become much closely acquainted, and the only way I can do that and see that as a future customer is to observe and see you in conversation. A monologue, a well rehearsed and performed kind of recital is not going to help me at all. So that's kind of principle number one. It's a very, very important one. The second principle is you should always go for the simplest video, which is going to have the greatest impact. This is not a invitation for complex productions and to showcase your abilities as an editor. I mean, you can try. I mean, and certainly if you have skills as an editor, please go ahead. But that will make no difference to someone's belief in you, whether the video is well edited or not. However, if the video is useful and has a great impact on me, then it's going to help the business. And the third one is that video should make what you do already work harder. So video is not, or video efforts are not out of context. You are already busy marketing your business. You are already busy keeping in touch with your staff. You're already busy trying to inform your customers and ensure customer care. You are just asking the question, would a video make this work harder? Will a video make this task have a greater impact or have more longevity and so on and so forth? So these are the 3 kind of principles that should inform and guide someone's judgment. So then I want to move on to the steps.
Before you go on to the steps, so I really liked your first principle, which is, let's actually see conversation, and let's, instead of that sort of just one-to-one camera. So someone in this position, they're just starting out thinking that they should do some video. How can they do that conversation if there's no one sort of volunteering to do a Q&A session? What's any thoughts on how you would get that going
Yes, absolutely.
in a business?
And in fact, that plays to the steps I want to explain now, Johnny.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely right. It's all well and good for me to sit here and say, guess what? It's going to be that easy. All you have to do is have conversations. But actually, as you know, as a producer yourself for this series and the others, it takes quite a bit of time. So I think for me, it's about embracing your journey as a video marketer, knowing that it will not start by making videos, but when you do make videos, they're going to be conversations, not performance to camera. Because the large majority of my customers have told me, I'm nervous about going on camera. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. All the reasons which actually are very valid. I say, fine, don't do that then, but still do something to market your business using video. So the first step to really build your confidence and understanding of what video marketing is about will not start with video creation. That's almost the third and last step. We're going to have a step just before, or 2 steps before. And step number 1, I'm going to call this quite simply video curation. So this is how it works, Johnny. You are going to let people, your audience, know that video and video content is going to become the new normal for you. That is, you're going to be essentially sharing and publishing more video content. But if you've not done so for a while, you've had a break, or you've never done that before, it would be very odd for your audience to suddenly out of nowhere see you appear with a monologue to camera or a conversation I just mentioned ago. That's too much of a jarring effect. So, well, there was nothing from Johnny for a while, apart from the occasional blog, whatever, I'm just being mean, and a few tweets, and then suddenly is a video superstar. Where does that come from? And then we actually just retrench. So what we do instead is pace ourselves, and we're going to show a wonderful quality. We're going to show that we're curious, and we're so passionate about keeping ourselves informed about a number of things that we do come across some interesting videos, and we take pleasure in sharing those videos on. We're going to become the ultimate go-to video curator. I'm a very busy guy, Johnny. If you can always point to me the number one video this week about SEO and other subject matters that you and I are very passionate about, I will thank you for it. And guess what? I will let people know. Oh, by the way, Johnny Ross just mentioned this video produced by somebody else, albeit. So you're building your brand already, and you're building this goodwill from your audience by being the ultimate librarian of videos. So the way to do that is to almost declare in advance that on behalf of your audience, you're going to take on this research project. You're going to become this journalist, Johnny. And you say, listen, I've listened to some of you. I've asked some questions. Maybe I've done a survey. And for the next few weeks, I'm going to be looking at 1, 2, 3 maximum key questions, key challenges, key themes, content themes, I would call them. And leave it to me. I will take the trouble to spend hours and hours on YouTube so that you only have to spend minutes, watching the best of the best. So that's very powerful because it introduces the concept of video as part of your day-to-day in future. You are working with someone else's effort to begin with. You're promoting your business. But where it starts to get really, really smart is whenever you find a video, I want you to do the share, save, embed. So share, save, embed. So first you come across a lovely video on YouTube, you share it as is with a few words, a few comments on social media. Great. Next, you're going to save that on a playlist dedicated to that particular theme on your YouTube channel. And if you fast forward a few weeks, a few months, you may end up with a YouTube channel which has your name, with playlist number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with maybe between 3 to 10 videos, and you're going to say, whenever you have a questions on that subject or you have a challenge, go to my channel. I've got a playlist where I've carefully selected and curated some of the best videos that will give you some clear answers about that challenge. That playlist can be promoted on social media and so on and so forth. So share and save. The last thing is some of those videos will connect with you more than others, or there could be some that you go, do you know what, that research project on that subject, that challenge, that theme, I had such a great time, I'm going to write a blog about it. So then you go onto your website, you're going to write a summary of your research, and you're going to embed those videos on YouTube. But you're not going to just embed the videos. You're going to watch them again, and you're going to timestamp whenever there's something very significant or something very impactful being said. So let's say, for example, you wanted to embed a TED Talk, and the TED Talk is half an hour. You need to kind of increase the values, otherwise you're just kind of copying and pasting a video. But if you put a TED Talk and then you say, at 30 minutes, this is a statement, at 12 minutes, this is the question, at 23 minutes, it is, the advice, then you're adding value to my viewing and my watching, and you are building your brand, and you're showing qualities to your prospects by curating video, which is by far the most important step on your way to being a video creator.
Such a clever idea, and I'm sure people watching can sort of understand how that could easily be part of a routine to slowly but surely get into video. I just wanted to touch on just one thing that you mentioned there, just for the technical or non-technical people that may have the question. You said about bookmarking the video. Were you talking about technically bookmarking it, or were you talking about just in the notes putting, go to 7 minutes I just wanted to be sure about
Oh yeah.
whether you were.
So what I do on my website, it's embedded, and I've got my WordPress website. I press play, and I listen again, and I just go, oh yeah, and I literally type using words. 5 minutes, I put the time 5 minutes 7 seconds. Great statement about how to do that. So you just type it in.
So it's in the notes.
In the notes,
Great.
in the blog post, and yeah, and the sharing and saving and embedding, it's all done within your YouTube dashboard. So it's easy on the laptop, I'll grant you that, than a mobile phone, but it can be done. So really, the only commitment with regard to video curation is a bit of time, but have to essentially be loyal to the theme or question you want to explore for the foreseeable future. So don't have too many at the same time and don't change. So it's if, for example, you wanted to, Johnny, explore more about how one can manage a team remotely as a concept on behalf of your audience. That's it, and you need to therefore go deep and spend and be thorough about it, not just do a quick few minutes on YouTube. But your customers will thank you for it. So I mean, practically what we need to do, pen and paper, is make 2 lists. List number 1 would be the kind of questions your customers are likely to have. Maybe the aspirations for the future could be also part of your kind of reflection, and then more importantly, what do they need to know beyond the bit that you do? I think that's a very important one to explore, because again, you want to be seen to be again aware of the broader situation, or the broader kind of universe that you operate in, and not just simply talk about your favorite subject. And the same would be for me. So I know that there are many topics and specialism that complement what I do. They don't what I do, but I know people need to know about sales and web design and cybersecurity and all raft of things that I don't do as a professional. But I will do my utmost to curate it and share it with my audience, and then repurpose that into playlist and so on. So list number 1 is reconnecting with what is important with your customer base beyond your core offering. And then list number 2, one that grows over time, is to simply find the content creators out there. And by the way, this method can be true for written articles, podcasts, as well as videos. But with the case of video, I think YouTube is definitely going to be your go-to destinations, although Vimeo is also a very important one. And then, when you think about the question of managing a remote team, who are the go-to authorities out there, from government to private sector? Are there any events organizers who have recorded their speakers and published it on YouTube? Are there any providers, from technical solutions to processes? Are there any trainers and mentors who are already actively publishing content on YouTube that you want to, and then just Google them, find them, and then record that? What you can do when you find a good content creator is, of course, subscribe to their channels. So when you have a YouTube account and you subscribe to their channels, whenever they do something new, you get an alert. So then the work is even easier. So if I want to know, I'll always be ready to tell you and your audience more about Google My Business and Google Maps, then I subscribe to the Google My Business YouTube channel. And whenever the team at Google publish something new, I get a signal, I watch it. If it's not very good, I'll pass. If it's brilliant, I'll share, save, embed.
Brilliant advice. So am I right? That's step 1. That's curating.
That's correct. Yeah. So
that's curating content, and it sounds like a really great first step. And I can see how it can be really resourceful and really, it's the old principles of blogging. When you blog, you should always link out to resources and create clickable content, and you become the authority on knowing where things are across the World Wide Web. So it's the same principles, really. It's a really simple, great idea, and thank you for introducing it to us. It's very clever.
Not at all. And I must say, this came to mind because of my customers were challenging me, saying, I'm still not ready. And I said, okay, what can we do? And it was just this idea of, well, actually, you can still market your business with video. You don't have to have made the video. You just need to add value. Yeah. and commit to that subject matter or that question. So that's step 1. And listen, that could serve you well. I mean, that could make a big difference to your business. Once, literally at networking events and whatever, you'll say, have you seen Johnny's channel? It's got this playlist on this. Go check it out. And then your business is increasing the visibility. Video curation will help really a lot in building your confidence. But before we go straight from there to becoming a video creator, there's a step in the middle, which I'm going to call a video contribution, which allows me to do the alliteration of curation, contribution, and creation, which I'm very, very keen on as a marketer, to always find clever ways to summarize my things. So the 3 C's, of curation, contribution, and creation. Now, contribution is quite simply, you are going to become a guest on someone else's conversation. So with curation, you're going to build your confidence. You're going to understand more about videos and how they work, how they get published. You will come across, obviously, some great conversations because you are sharing them on. And as a responsible editor, as you mentioned a moment ago, Johnny, you will tag the authors and the guests and so on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and so on. And when they are on the playlist, they get a ping from YouTube. When you are embedding their videos into your summary article and share it online again through social, you're going to tag the authors. So a number of them are going to thank you because they've been brought up properly by their parents and so on. And whenever someone gets back in touch as an author and says, thank you, your next move is to go, you're absolutely more than welcome. Your work is brilliant. By the way, if you are looking for future guests, I'm interested.
Nice.
Yeah?
Nice.
That's method number 1, if you will, whereby you've already kind of earned your stripes because you've been a promoter of their content. There is a tacit kind of relationship there, and you're just formalizing it by doing that. That's method number 1. Method number 2 is to do a more direct approach with somebody that is not part of your curation. You could stumble upon something and go, wow, that's amazing. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get straight into contact with them, and I'm going to get in touch. Again, think about a conversation we had a moment ago. It may pay you to do a message via social media as opposed to an email. It may pay to do a video message. It may pay you to pick up the phone as opposed to doing email. The reason why I'm saying that is because there is now a bit of an abuse out there where people are kind of bombarding people like you and I with emails saying, can I be a guest, can I be a guest? But they have obviously a vested interest in flogging a course, a book, and that kind of thing. So I know if you have the pleasure. When it starts, you've made it. When essentially PR agencies and bureaus, as they call themselves, try and push their client or their case on your platform, I tend to turn that down. So you need to make it a very personal approach. No matter the method, whether it's because you've been curating their content or the discovered, you've got to be ready for the next question, which is, I get in touch with you, Johnny, because I've seen you active online. I've already curated. You may vaguely remember my name from the tagging and the ping you get from Twitter and LinkedIn. Your next question is going to be, what do you want to talk about? And you've got to be ready for that and have a very clear answer. And my recommendation would be that there should only be a very small number of things you want to talk about. I know that your knowledge and your track record and years of experience means that you can talk about a large number of things. But for a host like you and I, it's so much easier to put things in the diary and to categorize and to plan for the future if I'm given a very clear, finite number of topics or questions you want to be answering. One good way to show that you are professional about being a guest is to simply create a media CV. Now, this is something that I've borrowed from the world of PR. Now, the media CV is something that we used back in the days of print and TV and radio before the internet, where I was trying to get my bosses to be interviewed on a platform. And the media CV should be a simple A4 side document. You can do this on Canva if you want. And what you want to do on the media CV is put obviously photography of you, probably the one that would be used to promote the conversation down the line, a very, very short biography. And then within that, the key questions and topics that the host can ask you and kind of make their life so much easier. If you have it, you can also put some links to previous instances where you've been a guest. And you can also obviously put all your contact details, email, telephone number, and social media, so that in one page, I can scan it and go, right, that's the reason why I'm going to invite Johnny to ask him actually that question you just written down, because that's great, or to talk about that topic. So the media CV is not new. It's been around forever back in the world of PR, but I'm using it now to also help my customers focus and commit to what they want to talk about, and also to accelerate the host feeling quite keen to invite you on board. The video contribution is you're a guest on someone else's platform, whether it's pre-recorded, live, whether it's a podcast, or indeed whether it's a blog. That'll be done to the host.
Great. It's fascinating to hear this, and just playing it out. It just sounds so simple, really, and but more so effective as well. So step three.
So you have done your job. You've been curating and are still curating, by the way. It becomes a habit, and your channel is getting the traffic. People are praising you. They're thanking you for your usefulness, for being so curious. Video contribution. You show yourself to be very humble, that you don't mind being a guest and being asked questions, being helpful to others. Video curation will help you build your confidence. Video contribution will help you build your audience, because there's nothing more disheartening to do and be the creator, but to have little to no reactions. It's not great. But also what it does with video contribution is it forces you to commit to the next stage, because you could be quite comfortable to stay as a guest, and indeed it works wonders, because when a conversation is being recorded and finished, the host will share it on to his or her network. That's visibility for you. You're going to share it to your network, visibility for them. Kind of works well, but you kind of eventually need to step it up and become the host. So you need to reverse the role. So I would say, once you've been a guest maybe 2 or 3 times, and that's going to continue, when the host will say to you, right, time's up, words to that effect, we need to say our goodbyes. Thank you again for being so helpful. Any final message to our audience, or anything you'd like to share with them? And you're going to declare and announce your future video series. You're going to make a commitment right there on their show, whether it's live or pre-recorded, say, I've got a new video series going out. It is about fill the blank. This is about this topic, and I'm looking forward. I need some guests. If you're interested, please, this is how you get in touch with me. So the host's network and audience will hear that message, so will yours. You might indeed return the favor and invite your host as a guest, but you commit to your video series whilst recording a video, which is kind of great for you. And then you've got to get on with doing those videos you've just committed to do. It's a bit like, when film companies, when they start production and they release a teaser trailer, and they've got to do it now. They can't let themselves down. So I think it's a trick of the mind. I agree, but it works. It's very powerful. And once you've announced your video series, then you need to kind of plan for that. And you're going to move into video creation, which is our third and final step. But at that time, weeks and months have passed, but you've already been successful as a video marketer without creating any videos. You've curated, and you've been a contributor. You've helped somebody else's on their journey. So with video creation, I recommend that you choose. Well, there's 3 styles really of conversations you can have. Remember, if it's appropriate, you can do those solo monologues to camera if that's helpful. I think they'll be in a minority. I think you very quickly exhaust what you can do, where you can pull off yourselves, and how you can engage. I want you in conversation with others. And there's 3 conversations, really. There's the expert Q&As. just pretty much like today, Johnny, where you ask me questions, I give you answers based on experience and expertise. The second one, which is actually a fun one to do as well, is the news roundup. The news roundup is the same. You are in conversation with others, and we are updating each other with latest developments and latest changes on a particular theme, subject, or industry. So you can have a industry specific news roundup, what's the latest in the world of construction industry, or you can have a news roundup, as I do every month, on social media, or you can have a news roundup on whatever. So news roundups are great. Expert Q&As usually are like today, you ask the questions, I give the answer. News roundups can be more of a panel discussion. So I've done some where you can have up to 6 people. You need to be very well organized as the host. You may even have a co-host behind the scenes. People take turn. But usually news roundups are between 3 to 4 people, and they give an update on what's been happening. And then the final form of video creation is what I call the technology tracker. So the technology tracker is almost like a product tour. So if you are aware of a new online application, of a new software, if you're aware of a new solution that people should know about, then what you can do is invite either the developers or the users to give you, Johnny, a tour of the platform, because you don't know it so well. So again, humility. But that recording of the conversation where on behalf of the audience, you ask questions about how to use Google Search Console, or how to use the studio data studio, whatever it might be, means that you have content that your audience obviously quite interested. So you have the choice: expert Q&As, news roundups, and technology tracker. If you're in your industry, it's not so much about technology, it could be about process and methodology. So maybe you could invite somebody to tell you about a new way of doing something, a new process that's been introduced that is new. So they give you a tour of how to integrate that into your organization. So these are the 3 types of conversations you should be having. So I'll leave you to ask me some questions about those, and then we can talk about maybe how you can record those conversations.
Yeah. So no, I think you've made it really clear, to be honest. And yeah, I was about to ask you around some of the tools or apps or the things you'd use. Do we just get our iPhone and do it with that?
You can use the iPhone. You can use the laptop. I don't recommend for those conversations to necessarily use a camera that you have to then find a way to hotwire into your laptop and so on and so forth. So I tend to use for my conversation the laptop, and we use a platform called Zoom for that. That's an option amongst many, but you can use Skype, you can use Whereby. There are other options, but the idea being that you want the split screen. So as you're doing there, now there's 2 options: you can pre-record or you can go live. So if it's pre-recorded, things like Zoom, Indeed, GoToMeetings, I'm forgetting, Whereby, Skype, and so on, can work really, really quite well for you. If you have if you're using a Mac, you can also do something called Ecamm call recorder, and that records a Skype call. So that could be a preference. Or if you're using a normal PC, you can use Pamela for Skype as well to record the call. So you record the conversation as is. Your preference may be that you want to go live, as you are doing today, Johnny. So I know that you're using StreamYard for that, which I have to say, it looks very impressive. But the other options include BeLive.tv. And if you're a Mac user, you also have Ecamm Live. They tend to be the one where you don't have to do much work to kind of get going, because the work should be spent on securing the guest, organizing the scheduling, and that kind of things. So in terms of the platform and devices, whether you want to do it from a mobile phone or laptop, you'll have to have an interface, and those interfaces are from the names I've mentioned. There are other things that then you can do to improve the quality of what is being captured, both visually and orally. So nowadays, most computer webcams do really well. They do really well, but they do need a lot of light, compared to a normal camera. So do some tests, about how you do that. If your computer is a little older, or you want to simply improve the how sharp and fresh the images, then you may want to invest into a little extra, which is essentially that way a webcam. Now this is the infamous Logitech, and it's kind of well known, and it will allow you to increase the high definition quality of the video being captured. Bear in mind that it just puts a bit more gentle pressure on your computer and the CPU usage. Then the next thing is, now that the image is right, because we kind of did what we could with the light. Working from home has limitations. I've done the webcam. I've got an extra spotlight that I use sometime, because where my essentially spare bedroom is located, by the time the sun comes around, I'm just in complete darkness. So I've added a bit more light, and I don't know if you can see, if I switch it off, if I put it on, there's a bit of difference, and the webcam will make some rectifications. So you can buy some very simple kind of lights, the flat LEDs. The prices have collapsed quite a bit. It is kind of interesting, and that's just enough for you to concentrate on what's going on. Sound wise, unlike you, I'm nowhere near as disciplined. I can never stand still. So using the mic the way you're using it, it'd be quite impossible for me. So my voice would keep going in and out of the mic. So I've gone for the headset, and this is a very simple Sennheiser PC8. Costs very little on Amazon, and the voice has been really good. If you do live sessions, what I mean by that is on your own only, so you're not in conversation with others, then maybe what you can do to avoid is, well, you can use obviously the normal kind of hands-free. They work well. Just be careful about how they move around, and sometimes the mic will catch the color of your shirt and that kind of thing. So be careful that you don't end up having that constant tap going on. But I've when I used to do more live session than I am now, as in talking to an audience, and then they would ask questions through text, so there was no sound coming back. I used a lapel mic. So this is the Smart Lav Plus from a company called Rode. This company here, and they do the Smart Lav Plus. So what you would do is clip the mic, put that onto your, I had to do it that way, it's a mirror image, put that onto you, plug it into your mobile phone or laptop, and the sound would be exceptionally good, particularly if you want to repurpose your videos. But that's primarily for when it's just you talking, there's no sound back. So because you and I have a conversation, I need to hear what you're saying, as well as talk to you. So that's why I've got a headset. I did have for a while, I did use the Audio Technica for a while, but because I kept moving and I kept banging my desk, I realized that this wasn't for me. Then which microphone have you got, Johnny, for you?
That's a good question, isn't it? I've had it for a couple of years and I can't remember the name of it.
That's right.
Finfine Technologies. Finfine Technologies. I can certainly get the name of it. But I've had it for a couple of years, and it was a recommendation from someone else, as you've described. Someone that I was being interviewed on, they had, so it was just from a recommendation, really. But I've got the whole arm,
Yeah.
Put it wherever you want, type of thing. Yeah.
But now it's good for you.
I like the headset idea, though.
For me, I had it, and when I watch it again, because I move and I describe things and so on, I know it as well, disciplined as you are. So really, for less than £100, you could kit yourself up. And please understand, I mean this to you and to our audience today. I've got 3 massive crates full of audio and video gear that I never use. I'm a sucker for buying new stuff, which I never use. My wife would be the first one to complain about it. And I just say, well, just in case of what? So the aim of the game is not to buy kit. The aim of the game is to be an amazing host. And you're going to become an amazing host because first you show the quality of being curious about curating. then a quality of being humble and helpful at the same time by being a contributor on someone else's platform, then you see the quality again of being, very caring and so on. And all this really because a customer will be able to reach the decision that you are the right supplier for them, not because you are able to perform well to camera on your own with that kind of polished YouTube style stuff, but because they can observe you in conversation with others, as a result of which they see qualities in you as a human being that it's for me the best compliment you could hope for is someone watches the video and they don't say what a great video or wow look at the editing or look at they look at the video and go, this person is someone that I would love to know more or I would love to meet, and
Definitely.
that is the job.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap this up with one final question before I come to yourself. Just what's the future customer or future client wanting from video? What's the future customer wanting?
Do you mean in terms of me as a marketer addressing an audience and?
No, sorry. As in our future customers. What or potential clients? What is it? Is it the theme that we've talked about? Is it that they just want really good advice, really good help, really good resource, or is there anything else that we've not considered, or is that exactly what they're wanting?
If you think about why people go online, they go online for two things: to inform themselves, so that they can make a better decision down the line, or to verify that claims that they've heard about you as in terms of how you conduct yourself as a professional is indeed true. So I don't think that's ever going to change. So the more you can be seen and heard being helpful with others like me, the better. But I'm going to go back to my first point. I think that the real future is in video customer service, not video marketing.
Yep. Okay.
As in really that in terms of the gentle pressures and demand on ourselves is going to be a lot less, you anxiously finding a way journey to show that you know your stuff, but actually you keeping in touch with all the right people using video.
Really good point. I have a feeling I know the answer to this question. What message do you have to everyone watching? And do you have any thoughts or questions you want to put out there?
Thanks. I mean, two things. What I will say is the nervousness that you may experience right now is only natural and is normal. So don't confuse nervousness with lack of abilities. Just I could show you countless interviews with actors and film directors and producers who tell you how wrecked with nerves and fear they were at the start of any projects, and albeit their project a bit bigger, but even after all these years. So nervousness equal wishing to get it right, which I'm giving the steps to get it right. The second thing is be a guest as soon as possible. That would be my recommendation whilst you do the curation. That will help you. But in terms of my work, and you kindly asked me about my plans for the future and the gaps that have been created. So I'm launching a new video series tomorrow. In fact, formally, I've got a teaser video to share, and this video series is really inspired by what is happening right now to all of us. And as you know, I've got family in France and Italy and in the US. I keep in touch with them, which gives me a particular perspective about what's happening. But I have to say those conversations are always very uplifting. There's always a funny side to everything, and I'm hearing about the local unsung heroes and whatever. And it's almost back to some of the things that I've said, which is I'm having those conversations, they're having a real positive impact on me. What a shame that others can't hear and listen to those conversations. So starting tomorrow, I'm launching a series called Confinement Stories. And I will be in conversation with individuals and families around the world to discuss how they are coping with this sudden change to our world, and hoping that in a strange way we are all united in isolation, and hoping that their stories and their perspective will bring a smile into people's face during maybe a tough time that they'll be going through. And and that's so if you are interested to be a guest, if you have family members, friends that are kind of around the world as well that you think would be good fun to have on board, if you'd like to get in touch, so it's confinement stories, put that in the subject line, and the email address is pascal@pascalfintoni.com. So thanks for asking, Johnny.
Brilliant. And whereabouts do we go online to find you and also the confinement stories?
Okay, so with a name like mine, I suppose like yours, you could just Google me, Pascal Fintoni. So I've just given you the address a moment ago. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, and I'm also on Facebook. But if you want to check out the way I approach conversations, you certainly can go on my website, which is pascalfintoni.com. And if you go on the video blog, there's a series I've just finished. I just finished it a while back. I'm going to start season 2, called the Content Marketing Studio. I believe you were a guest a couple of times, and this is where I talk to others about their approach to content creation. Again, to be a source of inspiration to others, and you can see a conversation taking place there.
Fabulous. I've really enjoyed this. You've given some really, really amazing tips and really helped people reconsider how they could use video. So I think it's been really valuable. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, Johnny.
And but yeah, we're going to say goodbye now. Thanks for watching. Please join the group, share this. If you're watching on replay, just put #replay. But thanks again. Stay safe, stay at home, and it's bye from me. Bye from Pascal.
Au revoir.
Take care, everyone. See you all soon.